7 o'clock, I will call the meeting of the Bourne Select Board to order on Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Note, this meeting is being televised, streamed, or recorded by Bourne TV. If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. Use of flash photography during Select Board meetings is prohibited. Was there anyone recording? No, I don't see Michael.
Anything?
Okay. If anyone from the public wishes to access the meeting, they can do so by calling the following conference line, 1-929-205-6099. The Zoom meeting ID is 869-5775-5505, and the password is all capitals BOURNE. The Zoom chat will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute. All items within the meeting agenda are subject to deliberation and votes. I will call the public session into order. First, we'll have a moment of silence to recognize our troops and public safety personnel. And salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is reading of the Select Board vision and mission statements. Would someone like to read the vision?
Sure.
You agree.
Bourne is a proud community that embraces change while respecting the rich heritage of the town and its villages. It is a municipality based on strong fiscal government with a durable economy that recognizes the rights of all citizens, respects the environment, especially the coastal areas of the community, and the amenities that it affords. Bourne embraces excellent education and offers to citizens a healthy, active lifestyle.
And the mission?
Sure.
Jared?
Bourne will maximize opportunities for social and economic development while retaining an attractive, sustainable, and secure coastline and environment for the enjoyment of residents and visitors. Through responsible and professional leadership and in partnership with others, Bourne will strive to improve the quality of life for all residents living and working in the larger community.
Thank you. I will note that Select Board member Melissa Ferretti is on Zoom. She had some medical procedure today and was not able to come in person, but is able to attend on Zoom. So all votes this evening will be by roll call. Is there anyone signed up for public comment? That's not public comment. Peter, we have you as an agenda item. We're going to move you up on the agenda so it's not under public comment. Okay? Public comment is only on non-agenda items. So seeing none other, we will move on to the public hearing.
Did you skip number 4?
Oh, community shout out. I did skip number 4. Okay, community shout out.
Thank you, Peter.
I have a couple of community shout outs. One is a shout out to the nameless people who make the effort to pick up litter around town. There's a number of people who do regular pickups at Monument Beach, Buzzards Bay, in their neighborhood, and I just want to thank them. I don't know all your names, but we appreciate your efforts to beautify our community. Second, the awesome 4th grade K-Kids at Bourne Intermediate School raised $116.14 with their coin drive for the food pantry. Bourne Youth Baseball opening day is April 28th at 1 o'clock, and Katie, Matt, and Josh from our staff will be throwing out the first pitch. And we're always looking for shout-out and recognition items for the Board of Selectmen to mention, so if you have we have a great community and like to recognize people for doing their part. If you have anything, you can email it to the Select Board. Anybody else have mention to mention?
Do not.
What about a shout out to the children of military families? The governor
Yes.
recently proclaimed April as month of the military child, and there was a ceremony at the intermediate school, which was fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Now, we'll go to the public hearing. Petition to change the name of Perry Avenue on the Cape Side only to Stones Throw Way. This is not as formal a public hearing as some of our other public hearings that are posted. The process that here will be that I will invite petitioners to come to the podium and explain what they'd like to do. We'll have questions from the select board. We can have comments from the audience. We'll then have some discussion and decide whether we want to make a decision this evening or continue the public hearing to another time, another night. So, welcome to the petitioners.
I think my dad wants to speak first.
We'll let you pick.
Could you please identify yourself and your visit?
Good evening,
village?
Danny Wing, 65 Cliff Road, Monument Beach. I'm the dad of Amanda Wing. Thought I forgot my notes for a minute. So we built this house a couple years ago. We acquired the land from the Jackson family. T.J. Jackson, my son-in-law, his middle name is Jackson, the namesake of the family. I know a lot of people had tried to buy the property previously. It's been in that family for decades. And they were able to get a parcel of that, 1.6 acres, to build the house. Through Bob Bilodeau over there and TJ and myself, we built this enormous log cabin, which is, and every load that came, in fact, the first load came from North Carolina. We're expecting, we're all standing around waiting for the load. We know it's supposed to be here at 9 o'clock, and it's not. We got a call from the truck driver. I'm in front of the town hall. Where are you? And that happened right along through every delivery that we had, pretty much. Morse lumber, Falmouth lumber, wood lumber. The first couple loads went to the wrong address. So our fear is, without a name change, it's going to keep happening. And now I've got an 8-year-old granddaughter and a year-and-a-half-old grandson that are going to live on this property. And I just fear, we all like to keep our kids and grandkids in a bubble, but someone's going to get hurt sometime. You might have to call an ambulance. You might have to call the fire department. We don't need that time hassle of, them being on the wrong stretch of road. Now, I'm sure you all realize that this leg of Perry Avenue was disconnected 90 years ago when there was a bridge going across. Since then, it's been a sort of a connector to Ships Lane,
Ships Way.
Chips Way.
Ships Way, and to Abtuxet. And I believe the name, I really think this name has to be changed to keep everybody happy. I mean, as a connecting road, the only thing on it has been the ball field. Now it means something to us. And John York came up with a hell of an idea. He lives down in Katomet. I went to school with John years ago. And one of his name changes were just to continue the Abtuxet Road, just to make that a continuance of the road. So Abtuxet would start right there at the Five Corners, or whatever it is now, and would go and you take that left after the bridge, and it would all be Abtuxet. And I think we're all on the same page as that's a great idea. So we're not stuck on a stone's throw. I know there was a lot of controversy from the peanut gallery about that. And so the deal is we really need a name change. And I've heard stories of pamphlets and leaflets for the girls softball team or something, we'll have to change the writings on them because we've got all these pamphlets made. You can't put a price on the life of somebody if you're waiting for an ambulance and it's not coming because they're on the wrong side of the bridge. So we're all in agreement as far as a family to name it Abtuxet, if that's good with everybody. Just a continuance of the road that's there already. I think it fits with the area. And that's my spiel. Other than that, I'm walking with this cane. I had my hip replaced, total hip replacement. So any of you that haven't sent me a get well card yet, it's P.O. Box 185, 02553. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to give you my good wish now.
Okay. So you want to make your request?
Sure. Come on up. Oh, these are gum in my mouth. It's drying my mouth. I feel like it's gonna just choke me up at the end. Hello, this is my first time at the podium, but not my first time in the room. My name's Amanda Bilodeau. I'm formerly Amanda Wing, his daughter. I'm also on the select board, so I'm here all the time, so it's really
Planning
weird
board.
to be up here.
Planning board.
Planning board. Select board. You guys are the select board. Sorry. I'm on the planning board. Sorry. This is my husband, Thomas, TJ. And yeah, what? You? Okay. So we are here. We've been anxiously waiting for this day. It's been a long time coming. I honestly didn't know that we would make it up here. So it's really exciting that we are able to, make this kind of a petition. So yeah, we live right now on County Road. We're about to move over to the house that's on Perry Ave right now. No dig against Perry Ave. We know the history behind it. We're very aware of it. I grew up here. I was raised here. My dad grew up and was raised here. He grew up and was raised here. We're not Washashores, like we were called on Facebook. We are natives to this area, and we're very respectful of the history of this area. The stone's throw away idea was actually kind of a what do you call it? Prismatic aspect. We thought, well, there's the Bourne stone that's over at the historic building that was found back in the 1600s. So we thought stone, and then we thought stone's throw. It's a stone's throw from the ball field. It's a stone's throw from the canal. It's a stone's throw from both of our parents' houses. Like, it just made sense. But it's not black and white. It's not make or break. We don't care. Like, if we can't get stone's throw away, we're not going to be upset. We want the distinction of we are on this side of the bridge. We don't want to have any issues with emergencies. We want to know that when we call 911, they're going to get to our side. Because we've had many situations that have told us otherwise, that we would have to worry. And I have a 1-year-old, and so I just worry. So it would make a big difference to us if we had this considered, and we want to make sure that the history is appreciated, but we also want to move forward and make this road a continuance of what is there. And for optics' sake, you have people coming far and wide to visit Abtuxet Trading Post. So the street sign, Perry Ave, is right there when you drive down Sandwich Road. So wouldn't it be great if it was Abtuxet Road just right there? Continue right down the road. It would make perfect sense. So that's my bit. I told myself I wouldn't cry, and here I am. So that's my bit. Do you have anything else?
No, I just know, like, even, we updated all the maps and stuff, I don't know, a year and a half ago when we originally got the address, and even as recently as, like, a week and a half ago when we had them installing the mini splits, they sure enough ended up across from the town hall. Hey, where are you guys? We're here. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, and anyone who's asked us, where are you building? We say, Perry Ave. And they say, oh, by the town hall? No, we're on the other side. Where? No one knows about Perry Ave on the south side. It's this tiny little strip that gets you to places. It's not, there's no significance to it. Yes, there's significance to its history, that it connected a drawbridge at one point. But it's not like we're eradicating Perry Ave. It's not like that's going away. because Perry Ave, the significant Perry Ave that everybody knows, is gonna stay the way that it is. That we're not doing anything to that side. It's our side now. Like, never before was there a reason to look at the name of Perry Ave on South Side until now. We are the only residents on the street. There's no one else that lives there, and no one else will live there because the other part of the property is owned by Faith, who lives out in California, and she's gonna keep that in her family, and she wants to keep that a conservation land. So there's never gonna be any other building on this street. So it just makes sense, and I hope that what we've said today can help people reconsider the way that they feel. That's it.
Okay, I just want to say that I did use Google Maps today, and I did check on my phone for the GPS that I used, and both of them identified 37 Perry Ave as being south of the canal. So, I just so you know, that it is now sort of identified in the right place. There were some comments on the routing slip from public safety. One of them was from Chief Esep, who wanted to make sure that any change wasn't going to affect NSTAR because they have property on Perry Ave that they owned. It's a 0 Perry Ave. I did ask Chief Esep about the safety concerns and the map updates, and he's actually on vacation this week, so he can't be at the hearing. Personally, I do want to hear from him about how public safety identifies where to go on the split roads. So we have a number of roads in Bourne that are split. Some are split by the bypass. Valley Bars Road is in like 3 different pieces. So I want to make sure that I know the public safety is going to know where to go, and that the dispatchers from at the county that do the fire dispatch, that they're going to know where to go. So that is a question. How do we make sure that public safety is going to know exactly where 37 Perry Avenue is? Do any select board members have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll touch on this. Having had history of trying to find your way through the town of Bourne, and was not born and bred here. I moved here. But as a police officer, there are a number of roads in the town of Bourne that are split. And there are a lot of people that are on our fire and police, and then we do occasionally use state police. So they're relying on some of these GPS programs. And I will say that there are a number of roads within the town of Bourne that are split, as Mary Jane mentioned. And I can specifically tell you in Sagamore, Mayflower Road, there's one section of it that is only accessed by the opposite side of the rest of the road. You can't drive straight through even though your GPS tells you can. It's separated. And I know, having been there for a number of rescue calls for many years, that the fire department regularly showed up on the wrong side. So it is a bit of an issue, and I get that Perry Ave was segregated when the canal was put in, and that was originally where the bridge was. But a lot of things have changed since the bridge has gone in, and the bridge has moved. There's a whole new bridge in a whole different location. So there have been changes that have been brought about, but I think having town hall on Perry Ave, I think that's the important part, and having Perry Ave stay is the important part. I think safety-wise, it's also probably, it may be a little safer for people to find, people who are out of town, rescue, safety issues for the ball field as well. I think there's going to be some ball field changes eventually, and that ball field may become more useful to the town. And so when something happens on the ball field, we do want to make sure that people can show up. And with the state police right down the street, it makes sense that if they have someone there, they may try and show up and be helpful. But if they're thinking they have to go over the bridge, that may become an issue. So I do see it as a safety issue, having been a police officer in the town and know that there are a number of streets that are separated, especially here with the bypass. You can't drive straight through those streets. So it is something that is difficult. I'm very much about history, and I think having Town Hall on Perry Ave on this side really kind of saves some of that history. I think safety's sake, with a ball field and all of the activities that happen there, it may be something useful that could be good. And I'll leave it at that.
Anybody else on the board? Anne Marie?
Yeah, first, thank you for coming. First and foremost, it is public safety should be at the heart of the conversation, right? Deliveries, we battle that. I get phone calls all the time. I'm on this dirt road trying to find, my street, and, don't use GPS and, give waypoints. I think, I'm sure Valley Bars people could have that same story. Yeah, I think it's important to get some feedback from the chief with respects to ensuring that our first responders know their way. And yeah, it's a battle, right? The historical value of it. I did like the idea of keeping Perry Ave and calling it South. I don't know if that would be calling it Perry Avenue South as an indication, or the obstructed extension, I think, was one of the alternative names. I'm not opposed to that, and while at the same time you bring a valid point of preserving Perry Ave as a historical name, still connected with the town. That's important too. So, but I think there's a little bit of compromise here that we can make with respects to public safety and preserving the history or having some alternatives.
You want to hear from the public, or you want to make a comment?
Now I want to hear from the
Is
public.
Melissa?
Mr.
John,
York
yours.
has his
Melissa,
hand up.
do you have any comments before I go to open up to the public?
I think I'm gonna abstain from the conversation, only because I'm just a couple hours out of anesthesia and I don't want to say, I'm here to listen, I think I should probably refrain, but I love Perry Ave. Perry Ave South might be a good option, but if the public is really loving the new name change, I'm not opposed to that either, so I'd like to hear from the public as well.
Okay, I will say that the board did receive 4 or 5, I think we got another email last night.
Yeah.
we did a
Written
couple.
comments opposed to the idea of the name change. Some of them were supportive of either South Perry Ave or Perry Ave Extension. Tuxet Road Extension might be okay, and the reason I say that is there's multiple things happening there, and so if you just renamed it a Tuxet Road Extension, I don't think it's gonna take care of everything, particularly the N-Star.
We just had one continuous road.
That's what I mean, it's not, because I think the N-Star road that's at Perry Avenue would not be on that. I don't know exactly where it is, but was one of the questions raised by the chief, and he wanted to make sure that we didn't make any changes that were gonna leave someone without a proper address. So, I'll start with, John York has
has his hand up.
his
Yep.
hand up. John, you wanna speak?
Yes, thank you. And I actually want to thank Amanda for bringing this forward. I think it is good for us to address this. Some of the comments that Jared and others have said indicate it's a good idea to not have Perry Avenue on both sides of the canal. I submitted written comments that addressed the history and which was the source of the Perry Avenue name. And I suggested 2 alternative names. One was South Perry Avenue and one was Patuxent Road. If my comments suggesting Patuxent Road turn into Patuxent Road Extension, I will rescind my comments. I'm not big on extension. If you guys end up naming it with something extension, that's up to you. I wouldn't support that. I think if it's gonna get a new name and it's not gonna be appended to Patuxent Road or called South Perry Avenue, I'd like to hear more from the applicants about why Stone's Throw Away is the right name for this road. And to think about what other names. So what I see is a road that in the future, in the near future, say in the next 5-10 years, may have a lot more use than it currently has. That ball field there, it's not going away, and given expansion of a library and all sorts of things, it looks like the ball field access is still gonna be off of Perry Avenue, and the ball field may get more use. The N-Star lot currently, and for as long as it's existed that I know of, has its driveway onto Patuxent Road, even though it might have a 0 Perry Avenue address. There's no way you could drive a vehicle from Perry Avenue onto that property because the grade elevation difference is more than 10 feet of a steep banking. So if you were to name the portion of Perry Avenue in question Patuxent Road, not Patuxent Road Extension, and make it part of Patuxent Road, I think it would be possible in all of that renaming to assign the N-Star lot and Patuxent Road street number. It's where their access is currently to and from. I like the idea of Patuxent Road because it puts an Patuxent Road street sign out on Sandwich Road and Trading Post Corners. I think that could be helpful for people looking for any of the addresses on Patuxent Road, including the people who live in the condominiums or the Trading Post itself, and there's a couple other residents down there, Stuart Parsons and a couple others. So I think that's something that would be very practical, but if that's confusing and the town really wants to give that road a separate name, I think that's a good idea too. But I would like to see enough input that that's a good name, because I think there's gonna be more addresses on that road, and also it's gonna be part of the GPS directions to Patuxent Road. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in Zoom that wants to make a comment? Jack, do you want to make a comment, or are you just listening? Looks like he's not going to comment.
He doesn't have any hand up.
No, he doesn't have a hand up. Okay. So, I think this is,
Hold on.
oh,
He just
you there, Jack?
I figured it out, yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome, thank you. This is Jack McDonald from Pecasset, Mass. Part of the peanut gallery, proud people. I sent a letter, I wrote a letter once I saw the ad, and my knee-jerk reaction was, of course, keep it the same. I'm the biggest, Bourne history buff going, and I always like telling the story of why Perry Ave has two sides. I can always tell that story, and of course I'm open to some sort of compromise. You have my letter, you know my opinion, which is valuable. I'm wondering if I think it's a good idea to talk to the chief of police, to the fire chief, also the Bourne Historic Commission. These people may have another concern or valid reason to keep it the same, or, bless the change, which I'm open for. And, heard nothing but good stuff here tonight. So thank you, Selectmen, for having the hearing, and I only wish the new homeowners all the best, honestly.
Thank you.
Anne Marie's hands up.
Anne Marie?
So you're on the others, you're on that little spigot on the other side of Tuxet and Ships Way. Is that where your lot is?
Or across from the ball field.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're on this side of the tracks.
Yes.
You're on, because I'm looking at where 0 is and trying to figure out, because 0 is where
Zero is where N-Star is, but
N
that
Star
doesn't mean
is.
anything because any unbuilt lot is 0.
right.
Right.
They don't give it a number
Right.
until it's gonna be built.
So.
So I'm just-
The N-Star lot is between the railroad tracks and the canal.
Yes.
And you actually enter onto it from Tuxet. It doesn't actually come on to Perry Ave,
Right.
which is strange in and of itself.
Right. Right.
Um,
So all of Periad on the south side would be Tuxet Extension,
Or a
Or
of Tuxet.
Tuxet or South Perry Ave.
or strictly
whatever, yes.
Tuxet, or Periad South. Okay. So we would need signage up at the front, and then at that intersection where Tuxet kind of morphs into Ship's Way, does that little jog.
There would be 2 locations to have signs if necessary. One at each end, basically.
Do you have a comment? I mean, my comment, I prefer South Perry Ave myself, because it maintains the Perry Ave, gives it its distinction of being south of the canal. Doesn't require a lot of change if somebody says, come to us via, like if you read the instructions to Ship's Passage, they say, come Perry Ave and take a right onto Sidge Pass. And if you go to the softball field instructions, that's what it says. So that's kind of maintains it, but distinguishes it. And Chief Esop did say in an email, because when I asked him about updating the maps, he said, you can't really rely on that. I mean, there are mechanisms, but they do it at their own time. So it might have taken it a year and a half to get them updated, and it just happened.
Well, I think it's important to ask the chief how that would
Yeah,
impact.
and I would, I prefer that we continue this and just get his input so we understand what makes it happen with the response time, Marlene.
I just want to talk a little bit of the logistics here.
Okay.
So, road name changes require a public hearing, as you know, and we sent notice. So, the notice was specific to what the name was
Yeah.
changing to. So if the board wants to change it to something else and not, this was petitioned. So if the board
Right,
wants
so
to.
we can't change the petition.
You can't change the petition. So if you want to change it to something else, you should deny the petition, and then we should renotice for whatever you.
name we think we might want to name it to.
Yeah, and then that, we're doing it we're doing it it's procedurally correct. We notice it, we send it back around, and everyone can, provide input on whatever it is that you choose. But you need to be very specific. So is it,
It needs to be denied tonight. And then
So
another-
there's nothing with the
Well, it
other
doesn't need to be,
process.
it doesn't need to be denied tonight, because we could continue it to a next meeting when we can have the chief come in and talk about the logistics of public safety and what we have to be concerned with. And then, at that point, I mean, he might say, just go ahead and rename it, it doesn't matter, but, I mean, some people seem to have, thought that, well, now that they have an explanation of the Bourne Stone and, why it's being named, I think, so we could do that. We could, postpone it till, well, not probably next week, but till like the 30th. And then have the chief come in and talk to us about it or give comment at both chiefs. Because I think this is worth discussion with both the fire chief and the police chief on the numerous roads, because Bell Road's like that too, right? Doesn't Bell Road show that you can come from one way that you can't come from? And I run into this on my road, where we have a 9'6" railroad bridge that the fire engines can't get under. And I've personally had a situation where my son was driving home and there was a fire engine stuck and it didn't know where to go. So these are Bourne roads. And when we went to the county for dispatch, the county is not the local, they're not the local. That's one of the reasons we still have all of our dispatch calls kind of go through the police department too. So there's, making sure that things are done right. But I want to make sure things are done right for everyone. I want to make sure they're done right for you and your family, and they're right for everybody else that lives on a split road or a problem. So I think it's good to have that discussion. And if we decide that we can go with, after that discussion, that we could go with that name, unless the board says we're not going to use the Stones Throw Way name, we're definitely going to use something else. So that's kind of the decision that we have to decide tonight.
Okay. But there's no avenue for the applicant in this process to change anything in the petition?
No,
It
because
has
it's
to
been
be
noticed.
It's been okay.
So we have to do another public hearing if we're going to change the name to Uptuxet or
Something else,
change it to,
yeah.
right, yeah. So it's process. We have to follow the public
Be
hearing
specific
process.
for the public hearing.
You want to comment, Peter?
I really don't have any more to add, other, the public safety concern is a valid concern by the applicants. And I know procedurally why you would have to go the format that you do, the process that you have to do, so. But I do support the applicant and their concerns, so, we'll just try to make this as simple as possible and not drag this out for forever, so. All right, so, but my motion is to continue this to the meeting of April 30th.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Is it possible for us in the meantime to public notice another hearing for another name, or we can't complicate
You
it?
should do, no, you
You gotta
should,
do one
Okay.
and the other. Yeah.
And what's our public
Because this
notice
is
requirement? What's our public notice requirement for like 14 days or something?
I'll have to double check.
Okay. Okay.
At least 14 days.
Yeah.
So is it either Uptuxet or Stones Throw?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay.
So this.
Yeah, we'll get feedback from the police chief. I think that's valuable information to
I
have.
think we have-
We'll
I think
continue
there's
this
kind of-
conversation.
Correct me if I'm wrong, are there kind of three options? Uptuxet, South Perry Avenue, or Stones Throw?
Yes.
So we still have three options on the table. I'd like to hear some input. I'd like to hear, people can still write to the select board. We have been this, board residence page, got a lot of people to actually write to the select board, so.
And if I may, so I think it's important, like Jack said, that, his knee-jerk reaction was, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But now, having heard, there's a different vibration that's going through. I think it's good that if we postpone it, it gives a little more time, people can rewrite back to us, and there can be more suggestions, and then, once we have more conversation with the chiefs, I think that will be the telltale, and then we can decide after that.
And then,
Maybe you folks can just redo your application with whatever name seems to come up best.
I don't even think they need to do an application. We can
We can do it by
decide that
ourselves.
we're gonna do it.
We could, yes.
So that would, so this is what I envision. We're gonna postpone, we continue the public hearing until April 30th. And that at April 30th meeting, we should make a decision to deny, or we should make a decision for our recommended name for renaming. We could approve it, deny it, and if we deny it, to make our recommendation and post that as a new public hearing that the select board has recommended this change be made. Because at that point, it's the select board, I think, saying, we agree with the public safety concerns. We agree that we make sure that this road has differentiation so people know, the public safety knows where it is. And this is our recommended change. And then we have a public hearing for that. And then if people agree with that, we can vote it at that time. And so we will, we'll stay on top of this. Getting to this point took a really long time, but once you actually got your application, and we've been moving pretty fast, so we'll try to keep this on a good track to make sure it's taken care of quickly. You have to
Yeah,
come to the
mic.
podium because,
I know this.
Does the stone have does the stone have a specific name?
It's just the Bourne stone.
The Bourne Stone.
Is it engraved?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's hieroglyphics or something on it.
Yeah.
No one really knows how to decode it. Yeah. Interesting.
It is.
So I just had one thought while I saw everybody commenting on Facebook about what they think the name should be. My only thought about one of the options, South Perry Ave, is a lot of people were saying exactly that, but then changing this side of the bridge to North Perry Ave.
Yeah,
Right?
that would make sense.
That's what a lot of people are saying, but we don't want to do that, right?
no, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
And I wouldn't do that mostly because, so,
The namesake.
Right.
well, because you have a lot of businesses
Right.
and people that live on that, and we don't need to change for them. Everybody knows where Perry Ave is.
Exactly,
And so, we don't need to influence them and make changes for them.
Right.
I think there's a small group that
Yes.
that are affected by this. And the distinction that I've kind of made myself is we approved a name change for a road. And I can't remember exactly when it was, and I can't remember who. The road was named after a family that was just gonna have their house on it. It was just really
Almost like it was a driveway.
it was like basically their own driveway, but it had a road name. And it
right away.
changed, someone else bought that, and they wanted to change that driveway name to there. Now, they were truly the only residents. So just because there's only one residence on Perry Avenue, there are other things that you have access on Perry Ave. So I just want to make sure that we do it in a way that makes sense. And I personally need to see a better map of Uptuxet and what it would look like if we changed the road, just to make sure there's nothing, it's not really, Uptuxet Road isn't really on the map that's in our packet. And I've looked at a number of different maps, and I've looked at assessors maps and all kinds of things. So I think we want to make sure that your family is going to be safe.
Thank you.
I mean, we really want to make sure about that.
Thank you.
And just coming to a compromise that sort of recognizes history and,
Yeah.
and does that. I kind of liked, the stone's throw, but, whatever.
I don't think, we really weren't hung up on it. It was mostly just, we have to come up with an idea. I don't think we ever thought about Uptuxet, which is wonderful. But then South Perry, I feel like would be confused with Perry somehow.
I'm actually, interesting, I had a conversation with John York, and that's why he didn't like Perry Avenue South.
Yeah.
Because he felt the south would be too easy to drop, but if you had it as South Perry, it would be okay. And one of the things, I've had quite a few conversations with John York about this, that I didn't know was that there are other roads that used to cross more down by Keene Street that were renamed when the canal went in. So there was, some of the roads were renamed, some of them weren't. Maybe Perry Ave wasn't because there was no one living on it.
Yeah.
I don't, the history is fascinating to me. So I've learned a lot reading all the history buffs information.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so, do we have a motion?
Yeah, but most of them made and seconded.
Okay, all right, so we're ready to vote. It's a roll call. So the motion is to defer to 4:30? Or continue to 4:30? Melissa? She's still there?
Yes.
Anne Marie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
MJ, yes. So you'll be back on the agenda for April 30th. All right, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for coming and participating.
I have to get this guy home now.
It's bedtime, past his bedtime.
It might be by the time he walks there.
You gotta move number 13 up.
We have another, yes, I am going to move number 13, discussion of possible vote to waive rental fees for the Veterans Community Building, gym and cafeteria for the Friends of the Bourne Council on Aging Food Pantry event on 4/27. Peter Limberg, you want to speak, or?
I'm Peter Lindbergh, 487 County Road, Monument Beach, or some people call it Pecasset, according to the Postal Service. I'm the president of the Bourne Friends of COA and the Bourne Friends Food Pantry. And we're going to conduct a psychic craft fair on April 27th. And we're asking for a waiver of the fees for the gym and the cafe. We're not going to be able to use the kitchen, but it'll be just the room itself for people to eat their lunch and relax. We're going to have coffee and donuts there for them also. But the reason we asked for the waiver is the $800 that it comes down to is either half or 1/3 of the cost of a load of food that we get out of Boston. And we get about a load every other week. And this would, right now is what we call our dry season as far as donations. And we try to watch every penny that we have so we don't overextend and make sure everyone has the proper food to take home. And we have over 425 families that are registered with us. They don't all come at once. Some are seasonal. Some will come maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But at least we're there for them to have the proper food and nourishment for them.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the request.
Seconded?
Motion by Peter, second by Jared, to approve the fee waiver requests. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Melissa?
Unmute.
Yeah, okay.
Anesthesia?
Anne Marie?
Yes.
MJ, yes. Peter?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
4-0.
All right, I guess you're all set, Peter.
Thank you very
You're
much.
all
I
set.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Good luck.
Hope you
Thank you.
raise a lot of money. Okay, now we'll go back to item 7, discussion with town council regarding a shared parking arrangement at 2 Kendall Ray Place. Is Brian here?
I'm here. Can everyone see me and hopefully hear me?
Yes.
It's a good start. Good evening, everybody. So I'll give you a little bit of the background on this, and I'll just, I won't bury the lead. We do have a legal problem with doing this. So basically the issue is that in improving the development at 2 Kendall Ray, the planning board placed a condition on the applicant that they, because of the necessary parking under the zoning bylaw, they needed to create 30 parking spaces across the street on land that's owned by the town. I think it's technically, 0 Main Street or something like that. It's a fairly large parcel that winds back through that way. So we reviewed it with the town manager's office, and there would be a number of issues with doing this anyway, but there's one that we just can't fix. And that is that this parcel of land, years ago at this point, was acquired with open space funds. Town meeting voted open space funds, and it was acquired for that purpose. And so legally, while we can build a parking lot on something that's open space near the inclusive playground, what we can't do is what the applicant needs us to do, which is to give them some interest in that parking spot so that they can use the spaces to satisfy the parking requirements for their development, which is not open space. We can't give an easement, we can't lease the property because of the nature in which we acquired it. And so this report out tonight is, I guess, to discuss this with you, but it is to sort of flag this issue because the parcel of land on which the parking was proposed to be built, it's the town's, it's not the developers, so it's under the jurisdiction of the select board, and it's an issue that we needed to discuss with you. So that's kind of my spiel. If there's any questions, or if the town administrator administrator has anything to add about this, I'll pause for a moment, and we can go from there.
I don't have anything additional.
Okay.
We don't have anything in our packet that's a map of where this property is located.
So it would be,
On the corner by Keystone.
so where they're building to Kendall Ray Place, the playground to Kendall Ray, and then the property between there and the canal would be town property.
Right, that's the map that I would
That's-
like to see,
And that's
actually.
just to give you some reference.
So, I did have someone call me about this, to say that there had been, some discussions some time ago with the prior. So this, at the current person that's working with the planning board, obtained prior, plans that were approved prior with another developer who then couldn't get financing, and then they brought another development in for 2 Kendall Ray, and now it's back to the original, it's back to Ryan, I think, is now the owner of the plans. At the time when this was first going through, there were discussions with open space. I think the chairman of the planning board is the open space, is the planning board representative on the open space committee. And there was a desire to build a parking lot that would provide parking to the playground, to the inclusionary playground, especially handicap parking and parking for people with disabilities. And so the conversation at the time was that a playground, that parking for the playground would be used during the day and parking for the apartments would be used at night. So this is the background that I got and how this sort of evolved as to something. Now, if the issue is that the planning board can't make that a condition because they don't have the authority to give that, is there any way that we can discuss, I mean, is there any kind of vote that can happen, or can it not happen?
Well, so the issue would be the parking at night. We would be able to build a playground that could serve as the inclusive, or excuse me, a parking lot that could serve as the inclusive playground, because that's, you know, the playground is there, it's part of the use of the property, and we could do a parking lot for that. I think the problem would be is that, you know, the intent of using it for something that's not within the open space rec purpose of the parcel at night would not be permissible. I mean, we could, I mean, there's just no way we could grant the applicant any form of sort of right to use it that way. It would be a parking lot for the playground because that's what's permissible. So, you know, the issue is not so much that the planning board did something that they don't have jurisdiction over. I mean, look, you know, if there's gonna be a use of town property that's not a developer's, I think the preferred approach would always be that one would first engage with the town, and that if there's some form of agreement, that would be submitted to the planning board. But putting that aside, the issue is that, you know, if the developer wants to go back to the planning board and say, hey, I have an easement, for example, to use these parking spaces, these 30 parking spaces in the evening to meet the parking requirements for this development, we legally can't do that with open space land. If it was a different parcel obtained with different funds, it might be a possibility, but it's the nature of the funds and the purpose for which we obtain this parcel that limits our ability to sort of enter into an arrangement with a third party for that form of parking. That's the issue.
Okay, so what do we do?
They'll have to find another place to do parking.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple of suggestions, right? You know, and just at a threshold, I don't like giving no as an answer, but, you know, occasionally there are times in the law where I say we just can't do something within a certain parcel, and there's no way to work around it. You know, I think that back when this development was done, there was some exploration, and that was a while back, about finding off-site parking. Maybe some has become available. Alternatively, parking rates are always a function of the number of units of housing that are in the development. So there's nothing that would prevent the developer from sort of taking what the developer currently has and maybe scaling it back a little bit and working with the planning board to bring it into compliance with parking. But ultimately, I wouldn't really characterize it as a select board problem. You have jurisdiction over the parcel that was proposed and you can't do it. And at this point, it becomes sort of a developer problem to go back to what they have in a special permit and say, okay, if we can't do what was originally proposed, what can we propose differently to the planning board as a modification or otherwise, and let them sort of come back to us to solve the problem. That would, to me, would be sort of where we need to go from here.
So, we don't have a request from the developer for this. The developer hasn't requested the select board to make any decision about this, right?
The developer has made a request to me that I move this forward to you. And when Brian and I started looking at it, we wanted to talk to you, we wanted to bring this to your attention.
But there is no action for us to take at this point. It just doesn't fit the criteria.
Right, but how do we notify the developer that it doesn't fit the criteria? I mean, do we need to?
The developers had conversation with town.
Yes, I can inform them. They've been in contact with me.
Our hands are tied.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not something that we can do at this point. Yeah. It's got to fit the criteria of the property and the planning board.
We talked about this in the background quite a bit. This is one of those reasons why I put under reading the path. There's just, occasionally there's just not one, there's not a fix. And there's not a fix to this, unfortunately.
Okay, so what is the developer going to be told?
That it's not gonna fit.
I mean, I just want to understand.
available to them.
The developer is going to be told that the select board does not have the authority to grant an easement or permit for this property because it was obtained under open space, and so therefore he has to go back to the planning board? Is that what we're saying?
I will tell the developer that the town cannot give them an interest in this property because of how it was acquired. How they design their project to go forward is then up to
Okay,
their
so the
design
town
team.
cannot give them an interest in the property because of how it was,
Acquired.
Was acquired with community preservation funds, which have certain limitations.
well, it was not, because it was open space funds.
You have open space provision of the CPC.
Because it was obtained, because it was acquired with open space funds, it can only be used for purposes, for open space purposes. Okay. Is there anything else we need to do for this agenda item? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
It's always a pleasure.
Public hearing reorganization proposal for Bourne's Information and Technology Department. Town Administrator.
Thank you. On the table for you tonight is a brief memo, and also joining me in person tonight is Bill Travers from Barnstable County IT. So I know that we have talked about IT a number of times, and I alluded to a reorganization of IT as part of my budget message in January. And we have been working with Barnstable County IT directly for more than a year now. And my recommendation to you is that we formalize that agreement in a long-term IMA. And we reallocate the staff, the salary and wages lines, to fund the IMA rather than rehire in-house staff. There's a number of reasons for this. It is very difficult to obtain and staff at a redundant and reliable level for IT without drawing on the resources of the county. They have a larger organization than we can fund ourselves. So it makes sense to essentially buy a share of their organization and have them continue to support us. So right now, Barnstable County IT provides 24/7 help desk support, as well as 3 days on-site. As part of this reorganization, I would increase that to 5 days on-site, and we have the existing funds to add that additional time. It will not increase the budget. And Barnstable County IT we can continue to obtain a portion of CIO time, which is Chief Information Officer time, so a high level of expertise to help us with things that were identified in the audit and to help us with strategic planning for how to move forward. The town's physical infrastructure is very outdated. It's beyond end of life. And Barnstable County IT has been actually able to keep it functioning very reliably. We've had a number of times where we have lost our internet server, but it may not have been noticeable to many people because they were able to bring it back up very quickly. So they certainly have served us well, and I would recommend formally making that the arrangement. Because they're an arm of the county government, we can enter into an IMA, and we're not bound by procurement law where we would have to do a competitive public bid. It would be much more expensive, and there would be a lot of cost uncertainty if we were to try to bring in a private contractor to do this work. So the fact that the county is able to support us in this way is a big advantage. This is an introduction. If you're not comfortable, making a decision tonight, I completely understand. Bill and I are here to answer questions or provide more information, but that is my recommendation for how to move forward with IT.
Any questions on the board?
In the past, they've tried and they've hired different department heads over the course, and it's worked out short term, and then we found out later it really didn't work out. We ended up with surprises, at least here with the county. We have an organization that's done this for a while, and since they've been here, we've worked well with it, so I would support the change.
And how would that relationship be with, like, the school departments?
Separate.
It's completely
Totally
separate, right?
independent.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't have combined, they have their own.
right. And this wouldn't,
This would not impact them at all.
Okay.
How long a contract
Yeah,
is that?
that's what I was gonna,
So, our current IMA it's month to month. I think that if the town and the county, we could stay doing that, but I think that one of the benefits for the county to enter into a longer term with the board is that it provides revenue stability.
Right.
As part of their budget process. It also provides you price stability as part of your budget process. But it's not an absolute need to do that right away. We can continue on with the current arrangement where it's month to month, and with the intention that this is this is the path forward.
I prefer if, for the chair, if we can get into a contract, with more services, for the amount of money that we're paying. And if we're gonna enter into a new IMA and go into 5 days a week for on-site, I think we're better off just memorializing it. And so it ends up being better for the town overall.
I think something long-term gives stability for both sides of the equation, and I think that's the way to go. And we've always ended up back with the county. A number of times we've tried to do this, and we end up coming back to the county. I think the smart thing right now is to rely on the assets that they have and put something together long-term that creates a little stability for everyone.
Yeah, I think some sort of a multi-year contract with extension, that was similar to what we have with
Extension
with
possibilities.
Falmouth for the municipal solid waste contract, where they know that we're working together, but we understand like what the requirements are, because the county has to do their budgeting, and they have to know who they need to have for personnel and what services they're gonna need to provide, and we need to know that those services are gonna be provided to us, so.
And the specifics on itemizing, like what service specifically are they going to provide? Because, you like to have an idea how much bang for your buck. And that, those services are what they are providing too.
I'm sure they got some long-range capital costs themselves for some of the things that they're doing, so, it's inevitable if our costs as a community going up a little bit each time, so it's part of that. The county can keep us in the loop, saying, well, these are expenses we're looking at in the future, so we can budget for it as well.
So, what are you looking for us to do with this evening?
To move forward and.
Do you want us to support the IT reorganization proposal as submitted? Do you want to come
If
back
you're-
with a contract? I mean,
If you're ready, I would prefer that you support the reorganization, if you're ready. And then when we have a chance to put together the contract, then that would come before you as kind of the execution of that. But supporting the reorganization would give us the opportunity then to move.
to figure out what the contract should say. And I think that's important, because I think there are things, the migration that we're doing, the increase, the security of the network. But I would also say that we have, over the years, had difficulty getting a 5-year capital plan from our IT staff. And it ended up getting moved, not as a capital budget, but then putting money into the operating budget, but then we never really saw things happening, and having a capital plan for our infrastructure, I think would be a good thing, so.
Very good.
I think that would be really great. I would totally support that.
I can make a motion that to support the reorganization of the IT department.
Second.
Motion by Peter, second by Anne Marie. Is there any further discussion? I think it'd be good to have the 5-day on-site too. I think that's helpful to, it's Monday. Well, you can't do it to fix the deadline, whatever.
Well, the 24/7 help
Happens.
desk, it is very responsive.
Yes, okay. All right then. Any other comment? Anyone else? All right, seeing none. We have a motion, a second. Melissa? I don't know if she's there. Anne Marie?
Yes.
MJ, yes. Peter?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
4-0.
Melissa, yes.
Okay,
She is there.
she is there. Okay.
I'm here, I'm sorry, I'm.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, all right.
You are.
You're good.
You're hanging in. You're doing great.
How much I fuss about IT, so I'm really pleased to see this, on the table, thank you.
Thank you.
I will say that as part of one of my committees among my MMA, we have to use Microsoft Teams. I went to log on and said, if you're not a work or a school use, and I couldn't get on, so I need help getting on Teams so I can continue my work on another capacity.
Yeah, there are ways to get it, even if you're not, but we're not on Office 360, we're not on.
After town meeting.
Yep,
We will get there after town
We'll be
meeting.
migrating.
I don't want to do that migration before town meeting.
that sounds like a plan. Okay, moving right along. Item number 9, update by the Cable, Internet, and Telecommunications Advisory Committee regarding Digital Equity Implementation Grant. Before you start, I'm going to ask Marlene to kind of talk about what she's been working on with grants.
Sure.
Because I think we might have some overlap and we have to make sure we have good communication, so. Marlene.
Thank you. So, the middle of last month, MBI wrote to me, and the email reads as follows. MBI is pleased to inform you that your municipality is eligible to enter into a reservation of funds agreement with MassTech to reserve funding under the Municipal Digital Equity Implementation Program. Upon execution of a reservation of funds agreement discussed below, MassTech will reserve $70,000 in digital equity implementation funding for your municipality. This amount is subject to increase, not to exceed a total of $100,000 per municipality, or decrease based on MBI's review and approval of your funding application and proposed budget. And they gave me a number of items to provide to them. And once the above information is received, MassTech will initiate the reservation of funds agreement for signature by the municipality, which will then be amended with a budget upon the following. 1, completion of the digital equity plan. 2, complete submission of the implementation funding application. 3, MBI approval of the funding application and proposed budget. I responded the same day with the information that they needed, and MBI also followed up with me and confirmed that they have received the requirements from Bourne and are processing the agreement, which will be sent to me for signature in coming weeks. They are setting an initial budget with a note that the amount does not preclude the possibility of being awarded a greater amount, not to exceed $100,000. Final funding determinations will be made on the full implementation funding application submitted by the town. So we have reserved the funds under the Digital Equity Implementation Grant. And the next step is to have the town finalize and adopt the digital equity plan, which will be submitted, along with your scope of work for implementation, which I will submit. So the grant funds, Bourne is in line, and the grant funds have been reserved at this point.
Okay.
Start.
Okay, may I start?
You-
Some comments?
Yeah, just wait a second. Do we have the Cape Cod Commission coming with the digital equity? When do we know when they're coming?
In next month after town meeting.
Okay,
Steve was not available this evening because of school vacation week, but
Okay.
it is on his calendar after town meeting.
okay.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Once again, for anybody watching online, Bob Dwyer, I'm the chair of your Cable, Internet, and Telecom Advisory Committee. With me is Wendy Howland, who's the clerk of our committee, and is he still there?
John Frank.
John Frank, who is another board member. And I want to recognize the hard work of Anne Marie, who's been babysitting us for the last 6 months, more or less. Just a quick question, Marlene, did they specify what the date for the proposal has to be submitted by?
They did not.
Okay, so that, it looks like it's independent of the request for proposal that they've put out generally for digital equity that has a May 31st deadline. So the particular, in the RFP that we sent a link to in the letter, they basically said that your current digital equity planning contractor, in other words, the Cape Cod Commission, they would essentially fund the preparation of that proposal. So the Cape Cod Commission can do the work to specify all of the elements that they specified in the plan and put them into the implementation plan at MBI expense. So they will do all the work of preparing this. That's free money, frankly. And given that if that May 31st deadline does hold, they need to get working on it relatively soon. We have not heard from anybody, from Steve Tupper or anybody, exactly when they're going to have the final version of the digital equity plan presented to you. Presumably that will be after town meeting. So there's going to be, if that May 31st deadline still holds, which apparently it does not, I hope it does not anyway, there's only going to be 3 weeks to get the proposal prepared, to get it approved by you, and then submitted by the apparent deadline. So I think there's some clarification is needed to get from MBI on exactly what the RFP that they have out for everybody, how that compares with the very generous offer that they've just made to reserve $70,000 plus for this. So again, we've specified, we have a timeline in there, and we've also specified a number of different elements. I would point out that there's ample opportunity for both the Cape Cod Commission as an element of the whole plan to perhaps serve as a digital navigator for the whole program, or at least outline the whole how the program can go forward. They're talking about a regional plan, in other words, a county-wide plan for digital navigators, and I would guess that the Cape Cod Commission would be a keystone for that. Another element is that we've talked about some specific pieces of hardware there, and from what I understand, Hank, I think the fellow's name is, from the county IT department, has done a bang-up job in trying to scotch tape everything together over time. And this is a perfect opportunity to put perhaps more time in the grant for a year to design, purchase, install, and then maintain some of the hardware that we talked about, expanded Wi-Fi in the library, for instance. I should point out that although Erie, the director, has been out on leave, we've had conversations with the trustees, and they're very strongly in favor of expanding some of the facilities there. There's also an opportunity perhaps to put public Wi-Fi perhaps around some of the other town buildings and fire stations. I've seen a couple of occasions where homeless people, as you well know, another hat I wear is with the Pecasset Village Association. We've had a homeless person who does have a smartphone who has spent the night on our front porch using the Wi-Fi in the building, in our building, and presumably having access outside the building for people who are on the street, and there are some, would be something that would be very useful. In any case, our committee is ready to get going on this the minute we get some direction on what you think the specific elements are. We referenced in the letter specific pages in the draft report where the Cape Cod Commission has identified specific digital equity needs, and we think those are the ones that we should go after and start moving towards what is now a ceiling of $70,000, and if we need to go over it, and we have good reason for it, go above that. But I think there ought to be time. If there's hardware involved, there ought to be extra time that's in the grant, that's perhaps 1 year where the IMA, intermunicipal agreement, I think that's what it stands for, adds an extra day of the person's time to do that for once a month, to expand that, and time for the Cape Cod Commission as part of the grantees to help with this digital navigator program. So, those are our ideas, and we're ready to help get this done.
So what we don't know is the reach out that MBI made to you is part of this $100,000 grant process, right? That's That's what we don't know.
Are they two separate programs, two
I don't
separate
know if
pots of
they're
money?
two separate programs. I don't know that because we're already engaged in, and we have a digital equity draft plan, that this was okay, we know you have your plan, there's a $100,000 grant opportunity, but we're going to give you, reserve ahead of time money for you. I don't know the answer to that.
That's my understanding.
That's
Yeah,
your understanding.
That would
Okay.
make sense. The other,
MBI knows where you are in your process.
Right.
And this is not an additional source of money. It's the same grant program. They know that your plan is forthcoming, and they're saying they're going to reserve some of it for you.
So they're already reserving it.
yeah, what they did say, which is a little confusing to me, is that they said in the RFP that the only municipalities that are allowed to apply for the public $100,000, if I will call it that, are ones that have a digital equity plan in process or nearing completion. So there's an overlap there in terms of definition. I would presume it's only one $100,000 pot of money.
Right, and because where we're at in the process with our digital equity plan,
Yeah.
they said, you're ready, we'll reserve it for you.
Right. The crucial question is there a May 31st deadline
I
on
don't
the
know.
town's money? And I think that's very easily resolvable.
It sounds like we're in process to meeting whenever those requirements are. So,
Yes, they're working on the agreement to send back for my signature.
Great. And when do you think Steve Tupper and company and the commission are coming in to talk about this?
is it
Not
maybe,
until after town meeting.
Right, right.
which I'm gonna say, it's either May 14th we're meeting, or,
21st.
I don't think we're meeting the 21st for some reason. I think that's something where we can't, oh, 21st is election.
Oh.
Yeah, we can't meet on election.
That's right.
So the week after that is the day after Memorial Day. I just,
Yeah.
again, I'm looking, when somebody puts a deadline in a government RFP and they say it's May 31st, I just want to make sure that we don't violate that.
But you're gonna meet that requirement anyway, right? Because
Yeah, I think that we're on track to that,
we're
so.
on track.
So it may be May 14th. I have to go look, but I'm pretty sure that we looked at May 14th if it's going to be in May and it's going to be after town meeting.
Okay.
If that's what it's going to be. But I will keep you informed.
Oh, very good. And can I ask Marlene, as soon as you get those documents executed, could you send them to our committee to look over?
I will send them to Anne Marie.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work. Okay, discussion of possible vote on reconveyance of 90 Adams Street, Sagamore.
So we received,
Yes. Oh, sorry.
I'm
too quick.
We're not voting yet, Melissa.
Thank you, I just wanted to make sure.
We received.
the information in your packet from the Sagamore Booster Club,
Okay.
and they want to give the property back to the town.
From 1957, when it was given to them.
Yes.
At the annual town meeting.
Yes.
What's gonna happen with the building? They didn't, we're not taking that as part of it, are we?
I think it's on the property.
It's on the property.
Yeah, I
Comes
know,
with it.
but-
They want to give it back to you
90 Adams Street is a building.
Yeah.
as is.
It's not just land.
Deed restriction, the property must be sold to the town for $1 if no longer wanted by
Right.
whole building lease to Cape Cod Development Program Head Start. So
Are they still currently using it?
They're not. That's why they're
that's
giving
what
it
the
back.
assessor's card say. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, yes, so they're not, I don't think they're currently using it anymore, so.
Can we decline the gift?
Well, no, it's town property.
So what do we have to
We're
do to do
required
this?
to give it back,
Yes.
Yeah.
to take it back.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
From 100.
I would like the town administrator to answer, what is the process that we're in here?
So, we would close, and it would revert back to the town. There would be a closing, we would file a new deed, and it would come back to the town.
Do we know
look
what the
nervous about
terms
that.
of the, was this based on a vote? That we don't have to actually get town meeting approval, right?
That's.
Is there some sort of written agreement that, I mean, there's just some notes in here about,
Bob Troy has a,
There's a deed restriction on the property with this condition, so when the town gave it to the Booster Club, this was,
it was a reverter clause.
there was a reverter clause, so now they want to give it back to you.
Okay. And is there any due diligence that the select board needs to do to make sure that we're not accepting something that we shouldn't be accepting because of?
We can do due diligence, however, I don't think it can necessarily change anything. But,
But there's language in here that says that the building erected by the association may be legally removed prior to the reconveyance to the town.
that is true. So if you wanted to essentially tell them to remove their building and give you back the land,
Slate of land, yes, you could.
then you could.
But I think that the only thing with that is, you know, I'm sure it was built with permitting and everything. So do we want to get rid of a structure?
well, it wasn't, it's part of the original restriction, you know, the building wasn't part of it, so if you wanna
If you
return it
wanted
back.
to, you could ask them to remove it, but what I'm saying is if the building is constructed properly
Yeah.
and usable.
1979, so it had to gone through the permitting process, I'm
Exactly,
sure.
that's what I'm saying, so it's probably, and it's
Don't know
been
what the
used
condition of
for,
it is.
it's been used for children for all these years, so I can't imagine there's a lot of flaws with the building.
Well, so the 1970, it says the 1979 deed was from the association to the nonprofit. The building had apparently been erected, the building has not been intended. The building itself is not part of the original restriction
No,
That's
or
correct.
reservation.
And that's what
right,
we're saying, you
and that's
could
why you
ask
can
them.
say, you can ask them to remove it before.
Yeah, before taking the property back.
Do you wanna remove something that's possibly worth value as it is?
Should we go,
And the
someone,
building's not currently occupied, right?
Correct.
I would like someone from the town to go walk through it, cause I don't wanna end up inheriting an eyesore either, that, a liability.
Yeah, we don't want to inherit a structure that's.
Are you, anyone here to speak to this?
No.
No?
John York's hands up.
Oh,
John,
John.
go ahead. Oh, this, you must be from Buzzards Bay Eagles, you poor things are waiting forever. I'm sorry.
They are.
I should have moved you up too, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, hi, hello. So I just looked at where this lot is located.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's
I know where
the
it is.
closest lot of any, like, lot that doesn't already belong to Mass DOT to the whole Sagamore interchange that's gonna be completely rebuilt.
Mhm.
And I suggest that it would actually, might be a very good idea for the town to reclaim this parcel. At the very least, it takes one item off of Mass DOT's, property takings list.
I don't think it's on the list for a property.
If they need to rebuild that, the town might get reimbursed for the value of the property if they take
I
it.
don't think it's anywhere near.
So that, I just think that there's a lot of reasons, given the fact that supposedly 10 years from now, that whole interchange will be rebuilt, for the town to own that property as opposed to any other entity, unless it was the county or the state. So if that was privately owned, I don't think that, it would be better if it was not privately owned, I guess is what I'm saying. So that's one point. Second point, this is just a thought just to throw out there for you, when you were talking about the building on the property. And I don't have the deed right in front of me, I think it said the building may be removed. Sometimes that clause is saying that the owner may
Right.
has the option of removing it. Sometimes it might mean that the town can request it's be removed. I wonder if the town can actually force them to remove it if it's only there so that they have the option of removing it. And that's something I think you want town council to look at before you go talking to them about the fate of the building. And then the third thing is, if the town accepts real estate, I was always told that that has to go before town meeting. So maybe the town council could weigh in on that, on this, since it's already in the deed that they have to offer it back to us. Do we still need to have a town meeting vote to accept it, or so those are my three items. One is about the bridges program, one's about taking the building down and who gets to call the shots on that, and the third is, does it still have to go to town meeting?
Well, I am thinking that we should have the building inspected by our building inspector or someone else.
We should not use the building inspector, but we should have an inspection done.
Okay.
That we would, pay for.
I think we should have an inspection done. I think we should look at the restriction. The memo from prior town council says the restriction legally effective as of March 15th, 1957, impose a life of 50 years from the imposition, would extend the life of the restriction to March 15th, 2007. So I think, I don't know, we maybe should, has town council looked at this at all? No?
Not yet.
Okay.
I wanted to have you discuss it.
I would like some direction from town council on the appropriate way to handle this disposition. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah,
In the inspection.
yeah. The inspection and then,
Let's see what town council says first, and then we'll do the inspection before we pay any money.
We're paying money for town council to look at it.
Yeah, well.
Do you want me to do them both at the same time, or?
I think we should do them, the inspection's not gonna be that expensive,
No.
and I'd like to know what's the condition of the property. I mean, I think we should know the condition of the property. And then know what we're buying for $1. Okay.
Might not be
Anything else on this, or can we just move it to the next step? Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, we're gonna do the consent agenda, which takes no time. So consent agenda, appointment of John Grulin as the Bourne's Veterans Grave Officer, and transfer of ownership of the 2005 Chevy Silverado truck from town of Bourne to ISWIM. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Anne Marie.
Second.
Second by Peter. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote. Melissa?
Yes.
Anne Marie?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
MJ votes yes. It's unanimous, 5-0. Now, discussion of possible vote to allow Buzzards Bay Eagles to hold their annual Canal Walk event renewal at Buzzards Bay Park on 5/18 as conditioned by the departments, along with a banner placed across Main Street new 3 weeks prior to the event. Welcome, sorry.
Hi. No worries. Learning a lot tonight.
Welcome to our world.
So, my name's Donna McCormick. I'm the event coordinator for the Buzzards Bay Eagles annual Canal Walk. Also a past president of the club and the Massachusetts State Membership Chairman this year. This is Jim McCormick. He is currently the president of Buzzards Bay. He's also the Massachusetts State President of the Fraternal Order of Eagles. So we're conducting our third annual walk this year. We'd like to host it over at the park, as we did the previous 2 years. Same exact setup. We have vendors, informational and craft vendors. We have live music. It's a single with a guitar, 2 of those. One does a split shift. Just to have a little bit of music in the background, food trucks, and some walkers that are walking to raise money for Toka's Friends, which is a nonprofit out of Westport that trains service dogs for military veterans with TBI and other PTSD and other difficulties. So we'd like to hang a banner this year, which is different from the previous years. I believe the measurements that I got from Marie were 3 feet by 20 feet,
Yeah.
if that's correct. And we'd like to get permission to hang that two-sided banner down on Main Street. And it pretty much will, I have a kind of a outline of what it would be, but it would just say, it would be our logo with the Tokus logo, Buzzards Bay Eagles, third annual Canal Walk, Saturday, May 18th from 10 to 4, rain or shine, Buzzards Bay Park, vendors, food trucks, music and more, and then our website, if anybody needs any more information. So, we'd
My only,
like,
my only,
Peter?
my only question or suggestion is where you want to put your porta potties.
same places we put them last year, which I did get direction from the town on that. And we were doing two regular and one handicap. And the traffic flow, I put 200, but I don't know what it really is. It doesn't ever seem like that much because it's throughout the course of the day from 10 to 4. People come and they go. People come and walk. They check in, they walk around a little bit, they do their walk. Some people walk a mile, some people walk 14. It's up to the individual because we don't want to exclude anybody from participating and donating. So it's a constant flow in and out, and it's very relaxed. It never seems like it's that busy, so.
So I will say that our, we made a change to special events policy, and one of the things I've noticed is that when it's unclear, like you can have 200 people that come, but your peak at any time is maybe 40. I mean, so it's not like it's an event at a stadium where 10,000 people are going to show up and they're going to be there for the whole
Right.
game. I mean,
Yes.
so I think we need to work on that a little bit, so, because there's a difference, and we need to kind of figure that out. I think Peter has a question about the porta potties, because he's concerned about putting them on the grass, because it tends to ruin the grass
What
in that
happens
area.
is like, for example, last year with when we put them on for the Thursday night concerts, and they were there all season, you take them up, and all of a sudden the grass is burnt, it's literally all gone.
Right.
I mean, if they're only gonna be there a couple of days, you're gonna get them up and get them out, that's one thing, but in the same token, that's why we have a deposit, just in case there is any damage, we can go back and fix it. My only suggestion, if it could be done, it was to move them onto the macadam surface, if there's a spot or two where the food trucks are down the end, down by the fisherman statue. But if they're gonna be in and out of there pretty quick, it's not gonna do much damage, but
So-
I saw what happened when they
Right.
were too long.
Right, and they are scheduled to be dropped off on Friday and probably later in the day on Friday, and then picked up on Monday because they do not do a Sunday service. So they would be picked up on Monday. And I don't believe there was any issue with the ones we had last year in the same placement.
As long as they're in and out quick, I mean.
Right. And then the only other thing that I did put in a request with my application was if the DPW would be able to put up some type of cone or blockage for the parking where all the food trucks will be, because it's unfortunate that, not unfortunate, but a lot of people like to get up early and head down. And if there are people parked there and they're off for a 4-hour jaunt to the canal,
Yeah.
now we're stuck and don't have a spot to put the trucks.
think
And they're in the same placement as Canal Day.
Yeah, I
through
think
that
it's
whole
usually
path.
would be somebody from you that could put something
Well,
down
we
there.
did try to put up cones and wrap tape around them later at night, the night before. But, I didn't know if that was something they could do with cones. So she did send a request. We did mention it in our application.
Well, there's this a temporary no parking signs
Yeah.
that you can always erect, and gets, the police have them, or DP, I don't know which agency has them now, but.
I don't know.
And
That's
they
why
just
I
put them on
asked.
some sticks and just try to put them
In
in.
the cone.
Yeah. Could we do that for 4th of July for the parade?
But, yeah, but it's usually
On the
typically on
event
you
side.
guys,
Yep,
yeah.
yeah.
Correct.
We'll take care of it.
So we'll do it the
Usually
night
take care
before.
of
Okay.
Is that something that they should do, or is that something we should have a department or the police do?
So Maria has put in a note to DPW. I don't know the outcome of that yet. You should plan on doing it yourself. If it's something we can manage, we'll let you know, but but you should plan on the town not doing it.
Well, I would like to say that we do appreciate the town's consideration every year. You know, we do raise a lot of money for charity at the Buzzards Bay Eagles.
Yep.
And that event, over the past 2 years, each event brought in over $18,000.
Wow.
So,
that's
and that, the first year was for the Joe Andruzzi Foundation, and last year was for Compassionate Care ALS. So it's always going to, you know.
Somewhere good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do
Yeah.
appreciate your support.
Do you want a separate, an amendment or a separate motion to restrict public parking on the parking spaces that you want put aside for your food trucks, so that way, you know, or do you don't think?
It's on the site plan.
It's already in there.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's already in
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, but that's for the Saturday, so I'm just thinking Friday night.
Well, if we do it, Friday night is typically, we don't go down there until it's like dark. It's after 9 o'clock. We go down and we put little picks that designate where the vendors go,
Right.
little flags.
Right,
And we put up the cones last year.
right.
The problem was it was kind of windy and the cones were blowing over and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So we just didn't know if it was an option, so.
Yeah, typically not, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they'll try to do it if they can. All right, so
If
can
we
we have
need a
a
motion, I'm
Motion, make a motion to approve the request of the Buzzards Bay Eagles for the annual canal walk at Buzzards Bay Park on 5/18.
As presented with conditions.
Presented with conditions, seconded.
Motion by Peter, second by Jared. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanted to say, yeah, I love this. I love what the Buzzards Bay Eagles does. I mean, they're important to this community. They do the Thanksgiving feast. I think this is really wonderful. I didn't get to say that earlier, and thank you. And I say yes.
There's your vote.
Okay, Melissa's yes. Anne Marie?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
MJ, yes. 500.
And I hope we see you all there.
Well, thank
We
you.
usually try to get there, but
Wonderful. Thanks very much.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is review of voter handbook for town meeting. You've seen it a couple times.
A couple?
We're gonna talk about, I think the next item is assigned town meeting articles to select board members. So I kind of like to combine these
Combine these
two
two, yeah.
articles. I have made a request to our moderator that there be instructions on how to divide a question added to the handbook, and she's gonna send some wording to you from town meeting time.
Sure.
I think we get questions all the time. People say, you know, these are all combined. So if we have an instruction in the handbook of how to divide the
Yeah.
question, it will, we can
Sure.
point people to it if they have that comment. And I have been going through, there are some things that I think we might need some more explanation of, and maybe we'll just kind of talk about that as we go. There has been a lot of work done by Marlene and Erica on the item. So there are 28 articles on the warrant and one in the special town meeting, which is a total of 29 articles. 5 of the articles are planning board articles, in which the planning board will make the motion and give the explanation, and then I'm assuming that Amy will go to the select board for their recommendation, and then go to the finance committee for their recommendation, and that's simply giving then the vote of the select board to support or not support. So, I'm not sure how we wanna, like,
Divvy up.
divvy those planning board articles out, but other than that, it's pretty much like, I don't know, 4 or 5 articles per person. I haven't really heard from anyone on articles that they're interested in.
I'll take
I
Article,
like to do the budget.
special town
I
meeting.
can do all the budgets, or you can do the sewer budget if you want, so, but I had town budget, ISO budget, capital outlay, the Sandwich Road, affordable housing, Article 13, and Article 26, authorize easements for the Bourne Rail Trail. Those were 5 articles that I,
What numbers were those? 13?
mine were 2, 4, 5, 10, and 26.
I cannot do 10 or 11, so. Doing 10.
Would you have 13 was one of yours, right, MJ?
2, 4, 5, 10, 26.
No, 10 and 26.
Okay.
1, 4, 5, 10 and 26.
You just said 2.
2, 4, 5.
2, 4, 5, 10 and 26, yes.
Okay.
2, 4, 5, it says MJ1, because that's the first I was counting about. 2, 4, 5, 10 and 26, okay.
Special town meeting, Article 1, I'll take.
Okay. Which one
I
was?
can take the ones that Anne Marie has to refrain from. And
Well, one of them I've
real-
taken, you said, which one did you say you couldn't do? 11 and,
10 and 11.
so 11, Melissa, I've already
Melissa gets-
taken 10.
I'm not, my heart's not set on anything specific, but,
What was the sewer budget,
obviously,
MJ?
you know.
Sewer budget is 3.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
I'll take Article 1 at the regular town meeting.
Okay. That puts us on to Article 6,
So
would be the
4,
next one.
5.
Article 6 would be the next one that's vacant, which
Reports
is,
and recommendations.
I'll take that one. Jared gets number 6.
CPC recreation feasibility. That's gonna
I'll
need,
take that.
okay, Melissa.
All right, Melissa gets number 7.
CPC recreation all-wheel park,
I can do that one.
okay?
So number 8.
All right. What's number 9?
CPC
Anna's
preservation, Anna's Pals, Hoxie
The
roof.
roof.
I'll take that one.
That may require some explanation about the reverter clause and
Yeah.
why it's important for us to invest in this.
Yep.
Okay. Then 10 I took, 11 is
Melissa
Melissa. Article 12, CPC operating.
Yeah, I'll take that.
That's just housekeeping, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Peter's-
No, it's there, it's 75,000 that they do every year
Yeah, it's for the,
for administrative costs,
Right,
for,
so-
yeah,
right.
for their,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not a project, it's their
Yeah, it's
administrative
their-
costs
their
and-
stuff,
and
yeah.
operating expenses.
Yep, so number 13 is.
I'll take 12.
Peter's taking 12.
Yep, Peter's got 12.
Stabilization,
I can do 13.
Okay. 13 is Anne Marie.
capital stabilization,
Want me
I'll
to
take
do?
that.
Okay.
Melissa's got that one, 14.
human services grant,
Sure.
All right,
Peter. That makes you 4, that's 4 for Peter, right?
What do you have, Peter? I just have you as 1 and 12 and 15.
1 in the special.
Oh,
One of the special, 1.
1, 1.
Another
Okay.
one.
1.
16 is.
16, bylaw amendment board and cultural council reduction.
I can take it.
Okay.
Right.
That is gonna need some explanation because it's being reduced from 11 down to whatever.
The minimum required
5.
by law.
Yeah, but, and we had, we had 5, then a bunch of people wanted to do it, so they made it up to 11. Now they don't have enough members, so it's going back down.
Okay.
I think it's going down to 5, which is the,
It's the minimum requirement.
yeah.
I'll take 17. Let's
Okay.
change it to 30 days, wherever said not. 30 days, 31 days, so. We don't have that many days in the month. We should probably change that. That one's a pretty easy
Bylaw
one.
amendment, capital outlay definition. You wanna do that one, Anne Marie? You were on the-
18?
Yeah, 18. That's because of the financial policy.
Right,
I think that's your fourth, right?
yep.
So I have, Jared has 4, Anne Marie has 4, Peter has 4, Melissa, 1, 2.
See 3 from Melissa so far.
11, 7, and 14.
Uh,
19's the conservation.
This one's.
Wetland protection consultant fees.
I can take that if I need one more,
Yeah, that's,
whatever works.
that one should be pretty easy.
Yeah, we still, yeah, okay, Melissa.
Melissa's got
Got
19.
4. So for bylaw adopt Beano,
I can do that one.
Let's have something in place that we should, we haven't.
I'm gonna have some fun with that one.
well, I think that also needs some sort of explanation.
Little bit, yeah.
That we have been giving the licenses, but we need to have, there's an additional vote we need to have in
Just-
order to continue, in order to do licenses, so it's pretty simple, but there should be an explanation. So now, let's see here, so I think Anne Marie, now you have 5,
Yes.
Melissa, Peter, and Jared each have 4.
21 is,
21's planning board.
So let's skip all the planning board ones.
22 is planning
26,
board.
are we gonna, have more
26.
further discussion on that, if it's gonna be IP'd or not?
23 is planning board
Right
also.
now, the motion's to be made on the,
On
a
the
town
full thing.
meeting.
24, 25.
I think we can discuss it at town meeting. We're planning on having a meeting on May 29th. I'm inclined to IP just because I think there's gonna be questions.
Yeah.
And I think we'd be better off to,
Oh, you have 26, so.
yeah. I think we'd be better off to wait till the fall. It's not required that we do this till the fall.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so, I say, and, you know, we could vote now if we want to IP, or we can wait till the night of town meeting and see how the meeting goes on the 29th.
For article number 26?
For 26, the authorization for easements
Yes.
for the Bourne Rail Trail.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we indefinitely postpone Article 26 of the annual town meeting.
Seconded?
Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, it's a roll call vote. We can vote this, right? Under our discussion of handbook? Sure. Yeah, okay. All right, so we're voting to indefinitely postpone Article 26. Melissa,
Yes,
Anne Marie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
MJ, yes. So can we put now, in the handbook, can we vote to recommend, the motion would be indefinite postponement, right? We can put it in the handbook? And we don't need to change our vote because we still recommend approval of the motion,
Yeah.
right?
Just not at this meeting.
Yes, your recommendation is to, your recommendation is to recommend approval of the motion.
I recommend approval of the motion. I mean, maybe we should change what it says, the select board recommends approval of the motion to indefinitely postpone.
I will, for this one, I will do that.
Okay. All right, is that good? Is that all we need to do on that? Okay. Authorization for easement for the water line.
For the Armory Road.
Armory Road, yep.
Melissa's on at 4, and Jared, are you at 4?
I can take that one. I'll take 27.
Okay. And then
28 is the Worcester.
28, authorized easement for Monument Ave, I think if I'm correct. Melissa? That would be her 5th, is that correct? Melissa,
Yeah,
4?
Peter and Melissa.
unless, Emery, you've got 5, yeah. Okay. All
What
right.
was my fifth again? Say that again.
28.
28,
have
authorize
27.
easement for 1 Monument Ave.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planning board articles. The only job of the select board is to give our recommendation.
I'll do all 5 of those. I can get up and give the report of each one.
But, I don't know, I think we can split them up.
We'll each take one, just give
Yeah.
us one.
Cause I'm down 1 anyways. I have 4, so I figure I'll get
Okay.
2 more, so.
Which one
Well,
was the
why don't you
accessory
take
dwelling?
21 and, why don't you take 21 and 25, Peter?
Yep.
And then, bylaw to 3 years to match the state.
What was that one? 21 was the bylaw to match the state?
22, wait, so then there's 22,
22
23
is
is
deleting the
egress
word
con-
2 and replacing it with 3.
Ooh, I'll take that one.
Jerry's taking
Yeah, I'll take
22.
22. I was kidding, but yes, I'll
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Zoning bylaw interim egress control,
I could take that one.
Anne
It's just a
Marie?
date change, right?
Yes.
and then amend bylaw downtown zoning occupation. I'll take that one.
Sure, why not?
Melissa, okay, Melissa,
I like that idea.
okay.
Okay, so I have 21 and 25.
I think I have everything written down here.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will put in the tracker.
Oh, good.
I'll do the tracker so we have it kind of organized. I haven't done it yet. I think, I think one of the things that, we can talk about tomorrow at the moderators meeting is any article that might need more explanation than, like, what's in the handbook.
So the format's still the format. It'll be addressed FinCom first, the moderator asks FinCom.
No, no,
'Cause that's what it says in the handbook.
Oh, well, we have to change the handbook.
I know, and I
then.
we brought it up last time.
And then it didn't get changed.
And it didn't get
Yeah,
changed.
okay. All right,
But-
so we have to change that, we have to change, yeah, no. When the article reaches the floor, the moderator will ask if the select board has a recommendation and a motion to offer. Do you have that written in yours?
No, I have it.
Maybe it's been fixed since,
Are you looking at the one in your packet?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold
it-
on.
under motions,
We haven't done page numbers yet. That's always the hardest part. But some ABCs about town meeting, emotions,
Yeah.
it goes to the select board first.
this needs to be reworded.
Oh,
It
you know
doesn't-
what? I was reading the one on my desktop.
Which is one of the
When
older
an
ones?
article reaches
Oh, it
the
did get
floor,
changed.
the moderator will usually ask if the select board has a recommendation and a motion to offer. Then that moderator will then ask the finance committee if the finance committee has a recommendation. to
Okay.
offer. This is the bylaw requires finance to review and make a motion on all articles.
Okay, so it was changed. I was looking at the draft on my desktop, which was the
Yeah,
previous
it's
draft you
still
sent,
a little bit
not
unclear.
this one.
And, I do have a question about something. It has to do with the ISOM motion. So, the, special town meeting Article 1, we move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $1,917,000 for the purposes of this article.
I thought Peter had that one.
I know, but I have a question about this.
Oh.
So we're spending $1,917,000 just for the OPM, the design, the specifications, bidding supervision, and the oversight. This has nothing to do with the cost of the building itself.
This does not include oversight. This is everything up to award of the construction contract. So OPM, design, and bidding docs.
So funding the OPM during design?
OPM, architectural engineering,
It
other
says,
design
a sum of money
services.
for the purpose of funding the owner's project manager, OPM. It's just for during design, right?
Whatever's not,
Preliminary design.
whatever's not used will get returned back.
No, that's not this, the owner's project management to support the design and bidding services. But this $1.9 million has nothing to do with construction. It's only through the bidding process.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea what the cost of the building's gonna be? Is it gonna be like,
Yes, there, in that in that document from Weston and Sampson, there was a preliminary estimate, conceptual estimate.
okay,
I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but it's, Weston and Sampson's feasibility study has a conceptual estimate.
okay.
That we have in our packet during the budgeting process, wasn't that
It was,
when it was presented by
Yeah.
ISWIM?
yeah, it was a very large document that
Yeah,
I had to send separately.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go back
Yeah,
and
I
look at
remember
that.
number.
So if you have an article that is referred to in the appendix, in your comments, you should refer to the appendix. You should say, as shown in Appendix C. You don't have it in the thing.
So I can tell you which ones those are, if you want me to.
If you have it
Do you want me
quickly.
to do that?
Yeah, if you have it quickly, it can't hurt, right?
Right, because we don't have the appendix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
We just
maybe,
have the
maybe,
page, the
maybe
save-
you could just go through, instead of telling us, maybe you just go through those and just put as part of the explanation, say, see Appendix C for information, so that it refers to the appendix. And is sources and uses in that expendence other,
Appendix B?
no, that, in the last Appendix D, the Appendix D, supporting information, could you include a list of what that supporting information is? I think that's where sources and uses ends up being.
That's not, no.
Sources and uses is in
Sources and
Appendix
uses is in
B.
Appendix B.
It's B1.
And I will put the list in Appendix D, but.
Okay.
Appendix B includes sources and uses, free cash and retained earnings analysis, general fund operating budget.
So if I'm looking at the voter handbook table of contents, Appendix B, which is like page 2, I guess, or 3. Appendix B says fiscal year 2025 operating budget.
That's the title of it.
Right, but there's all these things, never mind. I think it would be helpful if that appendix, this table of contents, included all those things. So if I'm looking at the table of contents and I want to know where the long-term plan is, I can do it by having that. Okay.
So I just want to, I want to make sure I understand, because there's a number of table of contents in this book.
Okay.
So is it the table of contents that you're looking up right up front, or is it the table of contents that's on the Appendix B sheet?
It's the table of contents right at the front.
Okay, okay.
So if the table of contents on that front page lists all the different things that are in the appendix, you could look at the table of contents and know where to find the things that are there without having to go to Appendix B and then figure out what's in it. Because I just thought that was the only thing that was in there, and that's why I thought the sources and uses would be in D. That's fine, I'm making too much.
If I add the itemized list in the table of contents
Yes.
at the beginning, do you also want the appendix referenced in the written comments in the article?
I think it's helpful, but it's not necessarily necessary. I think it's helpful when you're looking at the capital article, to say, you know, for information, see Appendix C, so people, when they're reading the article, they know
Know
to
where to
flip.
look.
Yes. I think it's helpful.
We verbally announce that anyway, usually.
Well, we should. So if you have a comment, like if I do capital, I'll say Appendix C has the capital information.
But for us, while we're reading it, it is kind of nice to have it there to say,
Yeah,
refer to it.
yeah. And that's all my comments.
For us.
Is there any other comments on the handbook?
No.
We've assigned the meetings. Town administrators report.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you. The milling of the Bourne Rotary began last night, Monday, April 15th, and will conclude after tonight's work. Limited temporary markings will go down after milling, and paving is scheduled to begin next Monday, April 22nd. Paving is also expected to last 2 nights. Pavement markings, permanent pavement markings are scheduled to be installed the week of April 29th, along with both permanent and a few temporary signs to communicate the new traffic pattern. Some of the larger permanent signs are still in fabrication and will be installed later, but MassDOT does intend on providing the information on temporary signs in the meantime. Rumble strips and flashing beacons will also follow the permanent markings. All the work will be conducted at night between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. There will be a detour in place during the 2 nights of paving work for Trowbridge and Sandwich Roads. MassDOT will share information about the detour with the town, and we will communicate that through the website, the police department, and the DPW when we receive it. MassDOT will also utilize their message boards and advanced safety signs to alert drivers to the milled road conditions. For the new Canal Area Bridge Replacement Project, MassDOT will be holding a virtual public meeting on April 25th. More information is available on the town's website. MassDOT will also be hosting an in-person open house on May 13th at the community building with sessions both in the afternoon and evening. We will share MassDOT's promotional materials when we receive them. Mass Development, in partnership with Joint Base Cape Cod, will be hosting 2 open houses on Wednesday, May 8th, regarding potential redevelopment of some land on Joint Base Cape Cod. The first open house will be from 2:30 to 4 p.m. at the community building. The second open house will be from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the JBCC Welcome Center. Mass Development has also created a website for the project at jointbasecc.com, where people can sign up to receive updates and leave feedback on any proposals. The contracts are still being signed for the Main Street and Academy Road intersection project, so a firm start date has not yet been set. We are anticipating groundbreaking during the first week of May. Prior to starting work, the DPW will conduct public outreach to let everyone know of the final schedule. That's it.
Once you have a press release or word to get out, could someone let me know so I can put it on my neighborhood's website so my neighbors can know what's going on?
Yep.
Thank
Is
you.
that, do we know how long that project's gonna be? I mean, it starts May 1st, is it?
I don't remember the exact construction schedule, but it's not a terribly long project.
Okay. It's not gonna be July 4th weekend or something.
No, no.
Okay. Awesome.
Because maritime graduation's usually like the 3rd Saturday in June, so hopefully it's done before then.
I can't remember the exact construction schedule.
That's a
And if they start on time.
yeah. We don't, and weather always, so.
Yeah.
No minutes.
No,
Committee reports.
I don't have any.
Anne Marie?
The Bourne Community Engagement Committee met for the first time. And we're still working through some of the changes with respects to language and, requirements for applying for these reimbursable grants, mini grants. We haven't nearly completed, so probably another meeting will finalize that. My question, though, is does legal counsel, does that have to be reviewed for making changes to how we disperse the money and some of the requirements?
I think it should be reviewed by finance, and then Marlene can look at it and see if it should go to town council.
We're happy to take a draft whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Any other committee reports?
Yes, met with the Affordable Housing Trust, and we're gonna be presenting, a handout at town meeting for the accessory use bylaw, since that will have a big, that's been a huge request for, I know, for our committee, so we'll, and Hack will be assisting us with it.
That's good.
And Kathy Fox Alfano is creating some of the talking points.
Next item is correspondence.
Select Board's correspondence for April 16th, 2024. A, Joint Base Cape Cod Public Meeting Calendar, April 2024. B, DEP Letter, J3 Range. C, P. Parker Talent Bank Forum Education and Scholarship Committee. And D, Intent to Sell Notice for a 40B home at 44 High Ridge Drive.
Future agenda items.
I think already.
Next meeting date, April 17th, is tomorrow's the moderators meeting.
That's in person or is it Zoom? Because I got the Zoom invite.
Both.
It's
Either
both.
or.
There's
So-
both.
Okay.
Whatever that Zoom thing, I put
It
it in
comes
my
from you.
calendar and it went out to the world and I don't know how that happened. And I think it actually had last year on it. I don't know. It was a total technology overtaking, whatever. I don't know. I think I accepted it and it went phew. And hopefully the information that is correct that went out, because it may not be. It may be something from last year. I don't know. May
People will
30th,
figure it
May
out.
6th, prior to town meeting. And we are playing a sewer commissioners. Are we not in the 24th next week or yes? No?
23rd.
Yes.
Yes, and there will be a brief executive session prior to that
Yeah.
for the select board.
Subject matter?
A town council has to brief you on something.
Okay.
So that's the 23rd then?
23rd, is that?
Yes.
Yes.
23rd.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been.
No.
Or is it the 30th?
No, I'm talking about the 23rd, April 23rd. Yes.
Sewer commissioners.
Yes.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded?
Melissa? Julia?
Yes.
Anne Marie?
Yes.
MJ, yes. Peter?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Motion is, meeting is adjourned, 9:50.